Notice of public meeting of the City Commission of the City of Brownsville. Pursuant to Chapter 551, Title 5 of the Texas Government Code, the Texas Open Meetings Act, notice is hereby given that the City Commission of the City of Brownsville, Texas, in accordance with Article 5, Section 12 of the Charter of said city, will convene a workshop and special meeting on Tuesday, October 17th, 2006, at 4 p.m. and 4:25 p.m. in the Commission Chambers on the second floor of the Brownsville City Hall Federal Building, located at 1001 East Elizabeth Street, Brownsville, Cameron County, Texas. Item number 1, workshop discussion regarding the Brownsville Sports Park status report.
Dr. Barrera.
Honorable Mayor Pro Tem, City Commission, as a part of BCIC's commitment to the City Commission, we try to give regular updates as to the status of the Brownsville Sports Park. Again, in November, there was a joint City Commission and BCIC meeting. At that point in time, H&TB made a presentation to bring everybody up to date as far as program development, functional layout, park image, and construction documents. And all of that was based on the $12 million construction budget that was approved by the City Commission back in December of 2004. Again, this is the current approved layout that was done in November of 2005. Since that time, the construction documents have been developed, and in April of 2006, Spyglass was selected as the construction manager at risk for the pre-construction phase. From April to the present, we have also contracted, BCIC has contracted with the City of Brownsville to perform tree salvage, demolition, and clearing of the property, which is 90% complete. Again, the rains have had an impact. It makes it difficult to get out in the area. Just to give you an idea, this is out when they were actually tagging trees. The city also saved even such things as some of the different cacti on the property. We also had an article in the paper showing the work that the city was doing on the site, and created a nursery in the southern part of the property of trees that will then be replanted within the park itself. And again, this is some of the demolition work that was being done by the City of Brownsville crews that we contracted with. In June of 2006, BCIC also contracted with the City of Brownsville for dirt so that the city would be able to create some detention ponds for flood control in both the Brownsville Country Club and Town North, which is about 95% complete. Again, this just gives you an idea of some of the dirt that was taken from the golf course and then that was taken out to the sports park and the landfilling that was done in the Lake Volts area. It just provides more usable property. In July, we had the preliminary project phasing that was recommended, which is a Phase 1A is the infrastructure, Phase 1B would be the amenities, and Phase 2 is again the amenities. The Phase 1A infrastructure consists of things such as the earthwork or site grading, utilities, some of the parking lots, the maintenance parking lot, the liner for the pond that's being used both for drainage and irrigation, the Brownsville-Merriman Road, lift station, and also site power and pump house. Again, in August, there was approval of a revised Phase 1A construction. The payment was made to PUB for the contribution in aid for construction of the electrical. We did have the groundbreaking at the end of August, where we had different entities of the community come out for that groundbreaking, just to give an idea of the different types of activities that would be held in the sports park. In September of this year, the Phase 1A bid set was completed, and Spyglass then put out that bid set for, they put out the advertisement and they put out the bid set for bidding. At this point in time, then they also went on ahead and extended the time period to try to garner more bids. One of the issues is that because the project is so large, there have been not as many local contractors as was expected in this phase. In October, which is this month, the Spyglass is doing a bid The bid assessment, they will be submitting the guaranteed maximum price. BCIC will be meeting next Monday to review what Spyglass is submitting as far as a guaranteed maximum price. The platting process has been completed by H&TB for the property that was done this month, and the contractor construction phase should be commencing toward the end of this month. Again, we're looking for the construction phase for phase one, to complete phase one, from 12 to 18 months. And at this point in time, we're anticipating phase 1B, which is actually the construction of, the beginning of construction of the amenities, to begin in about March or April. Again, questions, comments?
I got one.
Yes, sir.
On those soccer fields, are we going to put goalposts on some of them?
Yes, sir, there will be. Again, we will be touching base again as they broke up the different phase in phase one, 1A and 1B. So toward the, probably the end of this month, beginning of next month, we'll be touching base again on the phase 1A amenities. But there will be goals and things that will be
Not
purchased.
soccer goals, football goalposts
At this-
we're planning on bringing back little tackle football.
Okay. At this point in time, it's not planned, but then we can start also
Add it?
considering that. Yes, sir. We
All
could
right.
go on ahead and start considering that.
Right?
But I've been kind of busy lately, but I know we discussed this back at the inception, and there is some interest with regards to the United Baseball League setting up a team here in Brownsville. I had spoken to a few of the members of the 4B board, and we've been wanting to discuss. I know we thought about what a championship field would, part of the study.
Yes,
part
sir.
of phase two. We need to have a meeting about that so that we can figure out what the feasibility of it is,
Okay.
and also get them involved, because it may be where we can work this out where it doesn't add any additional cost to our original game plan.
Okay. And as you will note here, as you indicated, Mayor, as was indicated there, this is the field that would be an all-conditions field and a type of field that would be able to hold a larger amount of audience. And so it is within the master plan, so that is still maintained.
How many parking spaces are we calling for again?
I'll need to double-check to see where we're at on that.
That's the other issue. Okay.
Okay. But see, here you'd have parking, here you'd have parking, at least in the first phase, approximately half of this and half of this. And the rest would be suitable for parking, it just won't be paved parking in the first phase. But those are some of the issues, because there's been several issues, as like the one Commissioner Atkinson just brought up, that have come up over time as different people have become interested in the project. And so we will be going back and just looking at some of these other things that have come up in the meantime.
Lena,
Yes, sir.
private funding, I know you were working on private funding from different organizations. Have you been able to get any yet at all? Anybody committed?
We don't have any written commitments. We have a couple of verbal commitments at this point in time. So as soon as those come through, we will certainly let you know.
Let's get it in writing.
Yes, sir.
Anything else?
No, sir.
All right,
Also,
if
I was
not-
going to ask one more question. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
On the little baseball fields, I know I've attended some of your meetings, and we talked about North Brownsville, since it doesn't have a field of its own, to be relocated over there. Are y'all looking at plans to do that, or who do we need to talk to for that?
No, at this point in time, no, sir. The concept of the park is that it would be available and open to all the different entities, and that these fields, which is the youth league fields, would be able to be used by several different, whether it be kickball, baseball, girls softball.
Well, I'm just saying because North Brownsville, which is in my district, doesn't really have, we're leasing out something from Trico, and we're trying to make improvements on it. Skip's working with me on improving that area, but if we have, five fields?
Well, this one-
The idea is to have people there constantly, right?
Yes, sir, it is.
Having North Brownsville there.
One of the concerns, Commissioner, and this was discussed back during the planning stage and during the public hearing, is if you did this for one league, you got to do it for all of them. And
Exactly.
that's the dilemma. Now, it may be that you can schedule it where it's on a rotating basis, where, Mondays North has it, Tuesdays West, but that's still up in the air with depending on how the scheduling can be.
The only thing-
It's gotta be good for everybody.
I know, but the way I see it, West Brownsville has a beautiful feel. East Brownsville has a beautiful feel.
All of
South
them.
Brownsville has a beautiful feel.
Yeah.
You know, North is the only one that's been left out the last 10
And again,
years.
Commissioner, also,
But again, that was a private area, and over the last several years, we've worked and addressed a lot of that. So today, as it where it was a few years ago, it's night and day. But yeah, there's more to do. There's more to do.
yes, sir, the BCIC, in fact, did provide funding for North Brownsville, which includes the lighting and the bleachers that have been put into North Brownsville Little League. So there has been some substantial investment made into those fields for that group also.
Anything else? All right, we'll be in a short recess till 4:30. I'm sorry, 4:25. All right, we now have a quorum. I'd like to ask from Victoria Heights Elementary, Principal Blanca Lombardi. Principal, how you doing, Ms. Lombardi? Nice to see you again. We have with us today from the 5th grade, Gracie Molina, Brianna Nelson, Efrain Ledesma, and Nicole Barrera, and Jesus Lopez. Are we missing anybody? All right, these children are going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the U.S. and to the state. Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now the Texas Pledge. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one and indivisible.
Thank you, guys. Ms. Lombardi, if you could leave your phone number with Ms. Vega, I'm going to be sending something to the children. I don't see anybody with the list here. Well, Monsignor, would you mind giving the invocation this evening on short notice?
Lord God, we place ourselves in your presence that you may shower us with your wisdom to be able to make decisions for the betterment of all our community and for all the people of the beautiful city of Brownsville. We ask your blessing upon our city commission and upon all of us gathered here and upon all our people. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Monsignor. All right, item 1.
Consent agenda items.
Mayor, before we start with the consent items, item F was improperly noticed, so I'd ask that we remove item F from the consent items, and we're going to repost it correctly.
Okay.
Mayor, so move deleting item F.
Second.
A motion to approve items A
Through
through E by Commissioner Neto, seconded by Commissioner Camarillo.
I thought it was only F.
No, approving A through E.
Sorry.
Deleting F. All in
Yeah.
favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, and then with regards to F, we're going to table that? Or,
We'll just renotice it properly for the next meeting. There's going to be
All
no
right.
action taken.
next item?
Item number 2, consideration and action to appoint 2 members to the Capital Improvements Advisory Committee.
Mayor, I have a motion to have Mike Garza to replace John Glore on the CIAC committee,
So, second.
small businessman.
We have a motion by Commissioner Atkinson appointing Mike Goddison, seconded by Commissioner Longoria. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
And Mayor,
Another
I'd like
appointment?
to move to, I think Mr. Vicente Mendez, where's Ben? He already gave
He
his letter.
submitted his
He
resignation.
already submitted his resignation?
I received that.
So then I'd like to move to replace him with Rick Sayas, local attorney.
We have a motion to approve by, a motion to nominate Mr. Richard Zayas by Commissioner Nettles, seconded by
Real
Commissioner
quick,
Hernandez.
Mayor, real quick, as far as this committee, what's the percentage of people on this
Says at
committee
3.
has to be developers?
Says
Because
that
we don't want to
at a
add,
minimum, 3, right?
or
yeah.
no, the maximum is 60%, right? I just don't want to have to go back and do it all over again. This committee stands for 60% developers, 40% public, right?
That's correct.
That's right. So if we add these two, what's incorrect?
It's 40.
I'm sorry.
It says, all it says is that at least three must be representatives of real estate development or building and not be employees or officials of the city. And at least one must be a member of the city's ETJ area. So there's no maximum, there's just minimums.
Okay.
All right, so we have a motion by Commissioner Nettles, seconded by Commissioner Hernandez to nominate Mr. Richard Zayas. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Is Pete Sepulveda? Okay. Let's take item 11. Stella?
Item 11, consideration and action to authorize the City of Brownsville to enter into an interlocal cooperation agreement with the County of Cameron and the Texas Department of Transportation for paving Old Alice Road between FM 511 and Highway 100.
Thank you, Mayor, and good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. A couple of weeks ago, we had a joint meeting between the county, the city, the Texas Department of Transportation, the Los Fresnos Independent School District, and a couple of the property owners along Old Alice Road. And at that meeting, the Los Fresnos Independent School District advised us that in the near future, they had plans of developing 2, maybe 3 schools within that area. And so we came out of the meeting with a goal and an action plan as to how we should go about in paving the portion of Old Alice Road between FM 511 and Highway 100. That's about a 3.6-mile stretch of road. So we came up with an action plan, and then we placed that action plan into an interlocal agreement. The interlocal agreement has been unanimously approved by Commissioners Court. The reason that the Texas Department of Transportation was at the meeting is that this portion of Old Alice Road is an on-system TxDOT project. And TxDOT came out of the meeting agreeing to pay at least 50% of the cost.
Pete, if you could explain what an on-system project is?
On-system project means that that's a TxDOT eligible project for TxDOT or federal funding. However, in order for TxDOT to come in and utilize any of their funds in the project has to be environmentally cleared. And so Cameron County decided to go ahead and proceed and secure the services of a consultant to start the environmental assessment on this project. And so we have a consultant on board that's already going to begin the environmental assessment for this project. The school district advised us that we needed to have an all-weather road at least by June of '07, and that we needed to have a paved road by June of '08. Those were the deadlines that they had given themselves to build 2 schools. I believe it's 1 elementary school and 1 junior high school in that portion of Old Alice Road. So subsequent to our meeting and subsequent to the county's approval of this interlocal agreement, we've continued the dialogue with TxDOT. Our intention is to get TxDOT to, the maximum, which is probably about 80%. And so if we get TxDOT to fund 80% of the project, then, the county and city can decide on how to split the other 20%. The other thing that we needed to do, and this was the advice from TxDOT, is to go to the Brownsville MPO and place an item on the agenda so that we can discuss this project, and then at a later date take action so that we can get this project to be a priority for the MPO. We've done that last week. We were on the MPO agenda, and we brought it up to the MPO committee. And so in the future, I don't know if it's in the November meeting or the December meeting, we plan on taking action and prioritizing Old Alice Road, that section between FM 511 and Highway 100. The environmental assessment that the county has underway is probably going to take anywhere from 9 to 12 months to clear environmentally. The document itself, more than likely will be prepared within 6 months, but going through the process with TxDOT and the Federal Highway Administration probably will take us 12 months to get it environmentally cleared. But that's a key, because once we do that, then we can, probably get up to 80% funding from TxDOT, and you minimize the local participation from the city and from the county. So this is what's before you this afternoon.
This is a great example, Pete, of what we can do when we're all working together, especially planning for the future, especially for our kids of the growing city. This is a great example. I think we should definitely move to approve it. So.
Move to approve?
Motion to approve by Commissioner Arroyo, seconded by Commissioner Camarillo. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Pete.
Thank you, Mayor.
Oh, before you leave, let me just, I want to recognize Pete Sepulveda. For those of you who don't know him or haven't seen him at the county commissioners meeting, he's in charge. Give me your exact title, Pete, because I know you do everything.
I'm actually the director of the Department of Transportation. And
Well,
within the Department of Transportation are 12 different divisions. And I guess the county didn't feel that I was doing enough. So like the last 18 months or so, I've been the acting executive director for the Cameron County Regional Mobility Authority. So,
And in that position, along with previously, including in your title, in charge of all the bridge system for the county, Pete was instrumental and the key lead person with regards to the West Rail relocation project. And I want to give him credit, because as a result of his tireless efforts through the county and with the city's help, we were able to obtain total funding 3 weeks ago of about $13 million, which is what we needed to do for final financing on the U.S. side. So I just wanted the public to be aware of your efforts on that, and I want to thank you personally, Pete.
thank you, Mayor. Appreciate
All right.
that.
Hey, Pete, on that deal, we were up in Austin, it was actually, they gave us 13 million for the West Rail, and they gave us 5 million for the,
Yeah, what the minute order.
in total, right?
Yeah, what the minute order called for was $13 million for the West Rail, and that $13 million was composed of $13 million that was authorized to construct grade separations at 802, Alton Glore, and Boca Chica. In addition to that, the minute order said when the county or the RMA or the city or TxDOT environmentally clears the existing Union Pacific main through line, TxDOT will come back and pay for the acquisition of that right-of-way. As you know, from Olmito up until up to the B&M Bridge, there's one owner that has anywhere from 100-foot right-of-way to about 400 feet of right-of-way, and that's Union Pacific. And so TxDOT in the future, as part of this minute order, when it's environmentally cleared, will come and
An additional 5?
acquire whatever that value is. We estimate it
Okay.
anywhere between $3.5 and $5 million, but that's part of the minute order already, which is very important.
Thank you very much.
Thanks again, Pete.
Mayor.
Item 3.
Item 3, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 235-2006-054 to rezone from dwelling Z classification to 5th commercial G classification, proposed Lot 1 of Block 2 of Palmetto Grove replat located near Date Drive and Southmost Road.
Can you read 3 and 4 together?
Item
There's two different zonings, but I'll clarify which lot is for.
Item number
Are we
4.
doing them together? Pete, Ben, you wanted them together?
They can. They can be together, I'm just gonna have to clarify what ordinance.
Well, let's
relates.
just do 3 first.
On this particular case, Mayor and Honorable Commissioners, this is Boca Chica, and here is the lot in question. And this is a new subdivision. In here, the applicant would like to rezone his, or the developer, this lot to a 5th commercial. The Plan and Zoning Commission voted unanimously to approve, to recommend this application to you.
This is a public hearing.
Close?
Motion to close by Commissioner Longoria, seconded by Commissioner Arroyo. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Action.
Approve?
Motion to approve by
Second.
Commissioner Longoria, seconded by Commissioner Nettles. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 4.
Item number 4, public hearing and action on first reading of ordinance number 235-2006-060 to rezone from dwelling Z classification to dwelling G classification, proposed Lot 2 of Block 2 of Palmetto Grove replat located near Date Drive and Southmost Road.
in this particular lot, right behind the one we just rezoned, in this particular case, it's a dwelling Z, and the applicant would want it to dwelling G, which is just smaller, it's a smaller lot, and the density is a lot higher. So
What's the density?
the applicant, the Plans and Commission Board unanimously to recommend approval.
What's the size?
The size is 5,000 square feet.
Which is 50 by 100.
Yes.
Thought we'd already done away with 50 by 100.
Well, this subdivision was already in existence. We haven't done away with it, but we are working with the developers to do something different. The ordinance is still in existence for dwelling G.
Thought we'd already done away with that over a year ago.
With dwelling G, we
Said
have,
no more 50 by 100s.
well, Commissioner, the ordinance is still there. We are working with developers to do something else, but we haven't brought the ordinance change to you to change it. So if somebody wants to develop their subdivision at 5,000 square foot lots, they can.
We made that decision over a year and a half ago. What do you mean ordinances haven't come before us? That decision was already made by this governing body.
Well, ordinances, you can only stop dwelling G through an ordinance.
Well, that's what the commissioner's pointing out, Ben.
We haven't introduced
We-
an ordinance.
I don't know when it was or how we did it, but I know we discussed it because there was some, actually, they were wanting to do it smaller and also smaller side, what is it? Set aside, what is it?
Setbacks,
Setbacks in between the homes.
yes.
And I remember having a long discussion on that.
I'll tell you which one was the last 50 by 100 we approved, was the one on 803.
Right.
That's the last one we approved, and after that, we were not supposed to. We were not going to continue approving 50 by 100s.
This is a subdivision that's been in existence for a long time. It was out in the county, but hasn't been really developed. But if you,
It was in existence, but when did they come for their permit?
oh, I do not know. It was years ago. This is a replat of that subdivision. But,
So are you telling me that you're going to grandfather them?
well, the subdivision's already there. They're small lots. You,
Oh, okay, you're saying that
This is
they're
an
already
exist-
in,
This is an
it's an
existing
existing one that was already in place.
the applicant, which is the owner of that lot, has a dwelling Z zoning clarification. The dwelling Z is already there, but the subdivision's on top of that dwelling Z with a smaller lot. So you see, this applicant here, his home would have to have large setbacks, which his home would probably be a smaller size. But if you allow dwelling G, then he can go into those setbacks, which are a lot less, 3.5 feet versus 5 feet, for example. So but to go back to the original question about, the ordinance is still there. I mean, we need to work on an ordinance. If you want no more dwelling G in this community, then you have to set that policy.
Ed, it wasn't a community, it was overall in the city.
Yeah, you have to set that policy, and the only way you can change that policy is through an ordinance. So we have to bring an ordinance to you to eliminate dwelling G from the city of Brownsville.
Well, we know we can't affect what's there already, but
Right, but if you want.
our
no more
belief
future-
was we didn't want any other subdivisions or plats being submitted and/or approved that had 50 by 100 lots.
We had requested this from you over
Okay.
a year and a half ago.
Okay, so
Are you
that's-
telling me, are you telling me that it has not been done yet?
It has not been done yet.
Could you please start working on that?
Oh, yeah, we'll introduce an ordinance as soon as we can, but that will eliminate all smaller lots from the city of Brownsville, 50 by 100.
All right,
Move to close?
motion to close by Commissioner Longoria, seconded by Commissioner Camarillo. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Action?
Approve?
Motion to approve by Commissioner Longoria, seconded by Commissioner Camarillo. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Item 5.
Item 5, consideration and action on first reading of ordinance number 2006-1217-B, rescinding ordinance number 2006-1217-A of September 19th, 2006, and reinstating ordinance numbers 90-1213 of March 20th, 1990, and 90-1217 of May 24th, 1990, reestablishing the 1990 land use assumptions within the certified water and wastewater service area of the Public Utilities Board, the 1990 Capital Improvements Program, the 1990 maximum allowable and the 1990 actual water and wastewater impact fees, providing that this ordinance be cumulative, directing that the Brownsville Public Utilities Board and the City Planning Department maintain or reinstate appropriate pre-October 1, 2006 city development regulations and water and wastewater service policies relating to impact fees, directing the Planning Department and Public Utilities Board to refer the 1990 impact fees program back to the Capital Improvements Advisory Committee for further study, and directing the Brownsville Public Utilities Board to make certain impact fee rebates, providing for severability, providing for governmental immunity, providing for injunctive relief and other legal remedies, and providing for an effective date retroactive to October 1, 2006.
I got something to say real quick. Or did you want to talk?
Hold on a second, let's.
As a reminder, Mayor, members of the commission, at our last regularly scheduled meeting after the public hearing, several comments suggested that the commission might want to revisit the number that was initially selected for the impact fee. Staff, myself, we wrote an ordinance which, if it's passed, would rescind the most recent impact fee ordinance and would put us back to the ordinance that was in effect since 1990. We had, I think some of the commissioners had suggested that they would prefer, if possible, to keep the new and amended land use assumption plan and the capital improvement plan, but the way the statute's written under Section 395 of the local government code, we're not allowed to do that. We would have to, we can substantively keep the, the body of information that was accumulated and gathered, but procedurally we have to start over in order to set a new impact fee.
We're not in a situation, hold on, Commissioner, we're not in a situation where we could just rescind or change the rate structure that was adopted last month and keep the land use and keep the CIP. We have to do all or none.
That's correct. We still have the work that went into the CIP and the land use assumption plan as a starting point as we redo it, but I think that what the idea would be
Ask you something, Mr. Goza, is this going to cost, are we going to have to do another study?
Well, we have, I mean, it depends on how much
Because
change.
we've already done two at 250,000 each.
Well, I don't think
We've
we'll
done
have.
one.
Or
Only
220,000, one back in 1990 and one back in 2005, or this 2006. That's $500,000 that's coming out of everybody's pockets. Are we going to do another study because we didn't like the first study, or how is it going to work?
Well, we won't have to start from scratch. We'll have the benefit of the work that's gone into the last study.
Now, let me ask you something. We can't keep it at 2133 until they come up with the solution that, I think Ms. Sally Arroyo said we'll bring it back in a year. Well, I mean, people are panicking after 2 weeks. And, we had a meeting 2 weeks ago, and a lot of information was given to us, and a lot of it was incorrect. You know what I mean? People are panicking about a 2-inch meter. Well, those 2-inch meters, that's for huge businesses, 2-inch meters. Yes, we want to protect the small business owner. I'm not saying that we don't. That's why we even put Mike Garza on this kayak committee. But I don't think we should redo everything, have to pay for another study.
We're not going to pay for another study.
So where's this information going to come from then?
From where it's
Kayak.
supposed to be coming from the kayak.
From the kayak.
The one thing that we probably will consider is determining whether or not we should do an economic feasibility or an economic impact with regards to whatever results the kayak comes up with. That's why, and I take umbrage with regards to your comment that people are panicking. It's not panicking when you realize that you might have made a mistake and you don't want to make things worse. This is a situation, and I was the first one to say that night that if this is bad, if we've made a mistake, both too low or too high, that I'd be the first one coming back telling anybody we need to remedy the situation. Okay? I am upset because I kept asking, can we come back and raise it? Because at the time I was advocating for a lower number than the 2133, and was told yes, we could do that. That way we could come back every 3 months or 6 months and say, how are we doing? Are we killing the golden goose? No? Okay, then let's raise it. This is a situation that we were focused, either the kayak, PUB, and the city commission, solely on the residential aspect of what the impact fee studies were going to do. As a result of that, and the question was asked, what does this mean to commercial? Never got an answer from that. This is exactly what happened, Commissioner. We had people from throughout the city in all of these areas of practice, real estate development, construction, electrical sub work, all of these individuals, I received a phone call saying, we can't move forward on these projects. Now, let me give, for those, just so that we're clear, this is not going to be a public hearing. I think the City Commission has been very, very fair in allowing everybody their opportunity to speak on both sides of the issue. And it's not that we don't want to hear you, but we know what the positions are. That being the case, however, let me give you an example as I was trying to give to some of the people who are concerned that we're considering rescinding the fact. There was a recent issue brought about here in Brownsville with regards to the Medicare, Medicaid issue and the possibility that one hospital would be the only hospital receiving non-emergency care for Medicare, Medicaid patients. As a result of that concern, a group of citizens, including Valley Interfaith, raised concerns and objections saying, we're not sure that this is the best for the health care of the citizens of Brownsville, and I wholeheartedly agree. We don't know whether that plan would work, whether it would save money, or whether it would hurt health care in Brownsville. But it's enough of a concern, and Valley Baptist addressed it yesterday, that they're not going forward with it. That's exactly a similar type example that we've got here. Once we did this decision last month of going from $300 to $280 impact fee total to $2133, you had fees that in the past had been $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 going from those amounts to $8,000 to $12,000 to $17,000 to $32,000 with regards to commercial type projects. Ladies and gentlemen, the growth that this city's been experiencing is a benefit to all of us. Okay? I tried to explain this, and I'm going to say this again. By picking a number, whatever number it was, whether it was 3,000 or 2,000, or staying at the same number, I don't believe that this city commission is going to approve any rate increases. And I kept trying to make everybody understand that regardless of what we did, your rates were not going to go down, nor were they going to go up. Now, there's concern whether if we do this, where are we going to find the money for the infrastructure projects? The capital improvements, that's exactly part of the problem. We went from last year, from $25 million in the 5-year CIP study to $135 million. That impacted all the calculations and the ability for everybody to figure out what we're going to do with regards to our money. Now, what we're going to do, because we in essence had to reinvent the wheel earlier this year through the kayak because it had not met in 16 years, they now understand, I hope, and I think city staff, I think PUB staff, have a much better understanding of where this effect of any change in the impact is going to have on our entire city, residential, commercial, and otherwise. I think there are good people on both sides. This is not a right or wrong issue. This is just one of those issues that I know that as mayor, I do not want to negatively impact the growth of this city. As by the same token, I am not going to continue to put that on the back of the ratepayer. I've said that before. I'll say it again. And I think the city commission, at least on that issue, is in agreement with regards to that. Okay, Commissioner Atkinson.
Real quick, Mr. Buziak, or Eddie Campiano, he gave me some stuff that I want y'all to look at. And if you don't raise rates, and you keep the impact fee at $280, what does it do for PUB? What do you have to do? How are you going to, we're going to go in debt based on these things that I was given. You want to pass it?
I think what we provided you was the projected revenues off impact fees at the current rate versus the new rate. And, you know, if that money doesn't come in through impact fees, then it has to come through rates.
So we already said we're not going to raise rates. What happens?
We have to look at our capital plan, and some things aren't going to get done.
So you're going to have to cut projects. And then we're going to hurt the small developer anyway.
Commissioner, how can you say in the same breath that you want to have an impact fee study or impact fee rates that are going to kill growth, and a lot of the people in this room will stand up and tell you that right now, and then at the same time say, if we don't approve this, we're going to hurt the small developer. You've just heard these people at the last meeting, and I'm sure in phone calls, indicating to you that they can't continue to do business with these type of studies, with these type of rates from overnight.
And we heard some of them. Some of them had some legit concerns. That's why you have a committee to have them work that out in 6 months to fix it.
That's what we're
We're
doing.
panicking
That's what we're
after
doing.
2 weeks.
No, we're not
After
panicking.
2 weeks, we're panicking, and we're going to change everything, do another study. We're going to put PUB in debt.
The problem was that we never had an economic
It's
study
already in
done,
debt, but we're
Commissioner.
gonna put it more in debt.
And it's real important that we get an economic study done for this.
Mayor.
I have a
Problem, it
question.
never has been done.
Go ahead,
I have a
Commissioner Arroyo.
question, Jim. There is a lot of confusion. I mean, I'll be the first to say, I'm confused between connection fees and impact fees at this point. But the mayor also raised a very positive issue, and that was zoning. I guess my feeling is, again, I don't want to go back 16 years. Is it possible to keep the fee that we voted on and agreed on, and ask the kayak committee to come and study this between now and the end of December?
That's exactly what they can
Make
do.
an adjustment before
That's
the end
exactly
of
what
the
they can
year
do. That's exactly what they
to
can do.
determine whether we're too high or whether
That's
we're
exactly what the committee's for. You're right.
If the ordinance is voted on and it doesn't pass, then that would be the effect. Would it be the existing ordinance, which was passed on September, I'm sorry, the 19th? No, that's today. The last ordinance that was passed that established the rates effective, yeah, September 19th, that's right, would remain in effect.
Well, then, I guess that's what I would like to see happen.
Let me ask you something.
But
We-
you
we
see,
have-
Commissioner.
Jim, let me ask you, Jim, from
Hold on.
280 to
Hold on,
2001.
Commissioner, we've got to finish the point on Commissioner Arroyo. I asked that because that was what my initial inclination was, but was told that we couldn't pick that part out of the ordinance. In other words, you either approve everything, the land use, the CIP, and the rates that we approved on the 19th, or you don't approve any of it. So it's-
Very
you
good,
can't-
but we have between now and December 31st for the kayak to review all of this and make a determination.
Well, and I would be in agreement with you if I knew that it wasn't having an impact.
It's 2 weeks, Mayor. What impact was
Well,
happening?
you know, I guess you're not listening to the people that
Yes,
I'm
I am
listening
listening
to.
to people. That's why I'm voicing my opinion.
You know what?
Because most of the people have asked
You know
me to
what?
talk.
We're not going to agree on this issue, okay? So,
Mayor.
are there any other questions with regards to the information?
Can I?
Go ahead,
okay,
Commissioner.
Mayor, the study was a good study, John. There's no doubt. There was a lot of information to study. The part of the study that was missing is what the economic impact of the study would do to small commercial development. The entire focus during those public hearings was on residential and the big developers versus the guy with the high water bill. And we never talked about the people in the middle, and a lot of those people are in the room tonight. The realtors, your bankers, some of your small developers, the people that do business every day in this community. I've had calls I had one lady call me, bought a lot for $8,000, went down to PUB to put a water meter on it. It was gonna be $3,000 more. Another man, a real estate person, had a lot that he was selling for $13,000. They went to PUB to check out the water and sewer issues before the close the deal. It was another $8,000 added on to the cost of the lot. It killed the deal. And I think this is the real issue between now and December 31st. A lot of people that do business in this town every day, they can't wait till December 31st and see what happens. You've hurt more people than you can possibly imagine by passing these rates, by not doing the economic impact study and not listening to the concerns of all the people in this community, not just certain groups that came forward for and against. We've actually turned and pitted ourselves against each other over an issue that is not going to be able to be decided between now and December 31st. There's no way the city can do an economic impact study and come up with a valid answer in 60 days.
We also mentioned that whenever the commission gets ready to change the amount, we'll still have to go through the public hearings. Each time we make whether
Yeah.
it's now or in December.
Thank you for pointing that out.
I mean, real quick-
There will be public hearings again, just like we did, although I think everybody at this point will have a better handle and also will be more informed with regards to being able to espouse their position or provide information that the kayak can take into consideration as it's developing its new plan.
Let
So
me say
this is,
something.
the fact that you all are not going to speak tonight does not mean that you're not going to be heard. The public hearing process will continue through the kayak, and then again through the city commission when we have to vote on it again one more time.
You're right, Mayor, but I'm here, and I get to voice my opinion too.
You have.
And
Matter of fact, we read it in the Herald today again.
let me finish. You know, let me finish.
We read it in the Herald today.
Yeah,
Again.
exactly. And you know what? Those are valid points. People need to wake up out here and see what's actually happening. Yeah, I'm not a politician. I came in cold, out of the blue. All I have is my integrity. And basically, what I see is not right for the people of Brownsville. You know, the people that talked last week, and I met with Mr. Cadiel, your brother-in-law. We sat down and we talked about his plans, his retirement, where he wants to retire. He might have to use a 2-inch pipe, but that's for 10 apartments. He's setting up his retirement, but I told him too. I agree with you. There is a problem there, but we shouldn't do it at the burden of all the citizens of Brownsville. We shouldn't burden them with the high rates they've been paying. Are you going to deny that they're not doing that?
How are they going to be burdened, Commissioner? I asked you that 2 weeks ago.
Nobody's been burdened with their high rates of utilities.
How are they going to continue to be burdened? We cannot go back and undo what's happened over the 16 years.
By the way, Mr. Cadiel, I looked into what you were talking about, and I spoke to the PUB Commission, and Pat O'Malley, and this is a letter from PUB. Pat O'Malley spoke with Mr. George Mossel, and it's not true that he objects to the impact fees being assessed as long as they are fair and equitable. Sprinkler systems does not require a separate impact fee. PUB provides a free meter at no cost. Small business is not adversely affected because most mom and pop businesses require a 5/8 meter, which is 1 ESU, or equivalent to an impact fee of $21.33. Most businesses do not require more than 1-inch meter, and at the most 2 inches, which is reasonable when compared to the volume of water and wastewater they are using and the value of the business. This issue has been politicized by those on the commission who refuse to accept experts' finding. The CIP's
Are you reading Mr. Amada's letter? Is that what you're reading? Okay, all right. I just want to make sure.
And you know what? He's not a bad person.
This has nothing to do with being a good or a bad person.
I'll
You
talk
just
to
said,
you
no,
on the
you just
phone.
said that this is not being politicized. I think everybody would disagree with you on that. It has been.
Why? Just because we want to stick up for the...
It has been. It has been politicized. What we should be focused on is doing what's best for everybody.
Absolutely.
And then who's the majority of everybody?
Everybody.
Who's the majority of everybody?
Everybody,
You want to help 200, whatever, small business who feel they're being affected without knowing the facts.
Right.
And then hurting thousands of citizens of Brownsville that have had us subsidized for the developer. You're okay with that? How can you sit there?
No, you know what, Commissioner? We're going to stop with the personal attacks.
Well, that's what you're doing. You put this together. This issue.
I put this together.
Yes, you called
this
Goza
together.
and you put this on the agenda. Why? Because you've been getting a lot of flack. And we know it's election year, and we know you're being caught different ways. And that's not right. You don't do this to the citizens of Brownsville.
Go ahead and finish Mr. Amada's letter that you were reading.
No, that's my letter. I'm talking to.
Oh, I thought you just said it was
disagree
his.
with him.
Okay, all right.
And John Brusiak, and real quick, let me finish. I mean, you're quick to make a decision when it's going to affect everybody in Brownsville. Wait. You know, you're rushing. Here's a letter from the Chamber of Commerce. They're not for or against the 2133. They just want to know what's going to happen. And you're not giving it a chance. 2 weeks, Mayor. And you're going to charge the citizens about another $250,000 for another study?
Commissioner, let me give you
There has been
my personal opinion,
no
Commissioner.
study has been approved for $250,000. Quit misrepresenting or
That's
creating
what's gonna
facts that aren't.
happen. That's
Where?
what's gonna
Who's
happen.
going to pay for that?
The citizens of Brownsville.
Who?
You're going to have to do an economic study. How much is that going to cost?
That's not the same type of study that's been done,
We're gonna still
Commissioner.
pay for it,
That's
right?
the problem.
That is what's missing,
That's the
Commissioner.
problem.
It needs to be.
You didn't do an economic study when you raised rates a year ago to see what it was going to do to the citizens, the poor people in my district, his district, and all your district. Ernie, you're at large. You have to fight for our people in our district too.
And that's exactly what I'm doing. Let me tell you why. When you raise a fee from $280 to $21.33, you raise something 650%, and you tell me that's not going to have an effect?
On what?
It's going
If
to
I
affect
build a
everybody.
$180,000 home, and I'm a builder, I have a lot of friends that are builders.
How about the guy
They
with
make
a
about
$30,000
real
home?
quick. They make about $25,000 profit, so they make $23,000 profit. Who's going to get hurt? They're in it to make money.
Mr. Atkinson,
You're not.
that fee applies to a $30,000 home or a $200,000 home. That's the problem. It's inequitable for the poor. Get your facts straight.
Exactly.
It's hurting the little guy more than you can
is.
imagine, and someday you'll figure that out.
And exactly, and the poor are going to get in these houses and pay what for a low income house that then they're going to be that here comes a PUB bill that's twice as much as their own house.
You know what?
What are we doing?
Yeah.
You know what? You know what? we need to focus on trying to see how we can lower the rates.
Okay, well, I recommend, this is what I recommend. I recommend that we leave the impact fee at $21.33, like Ms. Salarroyo said. Let the kayak committee do its job. We just appointed 2 good people on it. Let them do their job, and in 6 months, we revisit it. We're also doing a master plan that you want to pass. To do that, we got to see where we're at to do this master plan. We got to stop. Just, if anybody looks at the ETJ, we're all over the ETJ. Well, let's stop a little bit, find out where we're at before we do this master plan that we're going to try to pass tonight. We're just running and not knowing where we're going. Yes, I'm for growth, but let's give it a chance.
Commissioner, you can't tell a community not to grow or not to develop itself because it's impossible. It's going to grow. People are having babies. Families are being produced.
Exactly.
It's not going to stop. Your letter and some of the things you've come out and say, I disagree with totally. Okay, no disrespect.
If the shoe fits, you got to wear it. That's all I'm saying.
And I'm not being political. What I'm saying, from a lot of people, from what I've heard from a lot of different people, we're talking about that this, if we do a recession, whatever the case is, that we are raising rates. We are hurting the poor people. We are helping developers. That's incorrect. What we are trying to do is trying to come back and correct a situation where I feel that, you know what, we need to look at it maybe a little bit differently. Are you saying we're panicking, we're rushed? No. But the bottom line is, I have a district to look after and protect, but at the same time, I also have a city. And I don't want people in my district to be hurting who are roofers, who are plumbers. And when they consider that that job is everything that they have
And they're
to
gonna have
support
business.
themselves and their family, we need to consider that and say, how did we impact that gentleman? How are we impacting that family? So the research and the studying and the master plans need to be developed and prioritized instead of saying, well, we jumped here we go and jump again. No, we can't. And we did that. We went, in my view, maybe too high without knowing some of the things. So had we not even voted that day, no rates were going to get increased. Yet people kept telling the folks, your rates are going up. That's being political, and that's wrong. And so you know what, whether people want to come and throw cheap shots at me or whatever the case is, fine, I'm here to serve. And we're going to do whatever we need to do to make sure that we ensure that we get it right.
So do you agree, last 2 weeks you agreed with Ms. Arroyo about this impact fee. Now you changed, obviously, you thought it over, fine.
Commissioner.
Okay, I agree with you, but let
Each and every day from this point on, from before the vote, each of us has read, studied, and considered a lot of different things.
Exactly.
When it's time to make a decision, it's time to make a decision.
Exactly.
Looking at the impact that it's had, the short amount of time, the impact that
What
it's
impact,
had, we need to
Company?
go back
What impact has it
and make
had
sure that we
in
have
2
the
weeks?
economic impact study done, Commissioner.
What has
And I'm
happened in
not,
2 weeks?
I don't think I'm out of line in any way asking that we have all these questions answered.
Do you also agree that you should let the kayak committee do its job?
I agree that
We're
we should let the
we're asking the
now
kayak
with the
committee
new
to do its
members.
job.
Exactly.
And I don't
They
think
can do that
anybody on this
without
commission
rescinding.
disagreed or said that we should not go up. Everybody's in
Oh,
accordance that we should
everybody-
go up some.
that's a
but
gimme.
You're talking about that we shouldn't take off running. I think going up from 280 to 2,133, you took off running. And I
Oh.
disagree with that.
That was 1990.
That's my
That-
personal
oh,
opinion.
that's your personal opinion.
I tell you what, this is not, there's not an applause meter here in the city commission chambers. So while everybody has their opinion on it, just withhold the applause because nobody's going to win or lose based upon the applause.
Carlos, we didn't do the 3,090. We did the
2,133.
Exactly, which was the 1990.
That's a
that was the
650%
1990
increase,
study,
Commissioner.
Carlos.
It's
The
too much
19
of a drastic increase. It
All
does
right.
put a burn on the little guy.
Okay.
All right,
My
everybody
opinion.
said their piece. Commissioner Longoria, you want to say anything? You want to add anything?
When this body increased 18% on electrical and on water last year,
It wasn't 18%,
wasn't.
Commissioner.
It was 6.
It was 6.
Go ahead.
And we did it for 1 year only.
for 1 year only, these are decisions that are affecting everyone. Do I agree that it's affecting small business? Yes, it is. It's going to affect them. But we need to start looking at this city in general. You know, it's very convenient at one meeting to say, you know what, PUB's not in trouble, and then yet come back at another one and say, well, yes, they are, and then all of a sudden, you know, you have our CEO from PUB telling us we need this. And then all of a sudden in the next issue, well, no, we don't. Well, guys, let's get this straight.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
you know,
That's
this
the
is
problem.
this
Been a
has been
problem.
16 years. Mayor, if we rescind this back to kayak, You know, thinking in legal terms, something, you know, you might, it's like bringing another expert witness into it, you know, and this expert witness is going to say something different than from what the professionals that did this investigation.
You know what, the problem, and I don't disagree with your assumption, but the problem is you have likened this to the adversarial process, and that's what it should not be. We should all be trying to figure out what is the best answer, what is the best number, without killing growth, without it putting back on the backs of the citizen and the ratepayer. We should all be in agreement as far as that goes. Whether or not we can find some middle ground, and I hope that this has all been a learning experience for all of us, including the citizens, becoming more informed in what's going on. But this is an issue that should be beneficial to everybody, the citizen and also the developer, without killing growth. Because the last, and I said this, the last thing I want, and I'd rather lose my election, Commissioner, than be the mayor and the commission that voted to kill growth in this city.
You're not killing growth. Thank you, Mayor.
All right? So in any event, this is an action item. I think we've all.
Can I ask one question
Go ahead.
just to legal counsel? The decision that we made for the 2133. What's the process? Where do we go from here?
If it's rescinded?
Do we vote on going back? Is there legality there? Is there a problem? What process are we gonna have to follow now? Because this has already been voted on and approved. What process are we looking at right now?
If the ordinance that's before you tonight is passed, then then the ordinance that was adopted on September 19th, implementing the new impact fees, will be rescinded. And the previous ordinance, going back to 1990, will be reenacted. And so we'll go back to the original impact fees that were set in 1990. On a staff level, what we'll do is regroup and try to maybe bring some new components into the land use assumption plan, which I gather from your discussion you feel like has been left out. That's one difference than the way it was approached here, than the way it was done in San Antonio and other places, is they hired independent planning firms who did the land use assumption plan. We did that, and the engineering plans in-house.
Didn't they use the 2002 Turner-Cauley-Braden land use plan instead of some of the information provided by the planning department?
That was part of what was used as well, right? And again, I'm just thinking of how, to answer your question, at a staff level, we'll try to reapproach this, but we'll try to take into account all the concerns and observations that have been made and come back to the kayak with a revised land use assumption plan, a revised CIP. Hopefully that would take into account the economic factors and whatever other planning issues we need to take a look at.
And to some extent, doing away with the Black and Veatch investigation or study?
Well, I think we feel like that whatever work has gone into it up to this point has not been lost, that we are much farther along than we were before we started the process.
But yet, according to this ordinance, we will revert back to the 1990 land use assumption.
As
For the time being, because we have to have something in place in order to be in compliance. But that's not to say that a lot of the information that the Black and Veatch study has won't be utilized by the kayak. That's all.
That'll be the starting.
That'd
be the starting point.
But let me ask you something, Mr. Goza. Can't we keep the 2133 and let the kayak do their job? Like Ms. Arroyo said, come back in 6 months and recommend a different number? That's legal, isn't it?
Well, the 2133 is what's in effect right now.
Exactly. If we let the kayak...
Jim, will you answer his question, please? It's a
Answer the
yes or
question.
no. It's a yes or no answer.
Listen, let me put it one more time. Can we do what Ms. Sally Arroyo said by just keeping that 2133, let the kayak committee do its job, do their economic search, whatever, on what it's going to cost, come back in 6 months and recommend a different number that we can vote on? I'm for that. And that's what I've read on these things. We can do that. I already know the answer. I just want you to say it.
Didn't we establish
You could do that.
on the ordinance?
Yes.
I guess what I'm trying to answer, if the ordinance doesn't pass, that's what's in effect currently. Yes.
Yes.
That's
Okay,
what will
that's
happen
all.
if the ordinance
That's what
doesn't
I
pass.
wanted to know.
Okay.
You didn't answer his question. He said, can we keep the 2133 and then keep sending it back?
No.
That just means.
That's not true. That's not what I said.
Go ahead and ask it again.
I said 2133, let the committee find and research what we're doing to small business, what we're doing to developers, come back in 6 months and say, look, we recommend a smaller fee, and based on what we got here on economic growth, research or studies, and we can change it then, can't we?
I hope I'm understanding the
No,
question
no, no.
correctly.
Actually, Jim, you did answer his question right, yeah.
Yes.
That's what he would like to see happen.
So does Sally.
If,
Rick.
as I say, if the ordinance doesn't pass, then we're at the 2133 with with the LUA and the CIP that was adopted on September 19th. Either way, whether it's now or in December or in a year from now, we still do have to go through the public hearing process in order to make any changes at all. We're just, instead of keeping it the way it was adopted on September 19th, if the ordinance passes, it reverts back to the way it was from 1990. So either way, the process is the same for getting a change, whether it's now or in December or a year from now. We still do go through the public hearings, and we still do make whatever amendments need to be made, right?
All right, this is an action item.
Mr. Goza, I would like to make a motion to approve on first reading ordinance number 2006-1217-B, rescinding ordinance number 2006-1217-A of September 19th, 2006, and reinstating ordinance numbers 90-1213 of March 20th, 1990, and 90-1217 of May 24th, 1990, for approval.
We have a motion to
Second.
approve rescinding ordinance of September the 19th by Commissioner Hernandez, seconded by Commissioner Nettles. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Hey,
Nay, 3 nays. Motion carries. Next item. Next item.
Item number 6, consideration and action on resolution number 2006-061 to authorize the submittal of a funding application to the Brownsville Community Improvement Corporation for the master plan project for fiscal year 2007.
Honorable Mayor and City Commissioners, this resolution is a requirement to the 4B application, and to where we're requesting funding from that corporation for funding of a master plan in the sum of $250,000. Ask for your approval.
All right.
So moved to
Action-
approve.
Motion approved by
Second.
Commissioner Nettles, seconded by Commissioner Arroyo. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 7.
Item 7, consideration and action on resolution number 2006-062 to authorize the submittal of a funding application to the Brownsville Community Improvement Corporation for the Pet Park project for fiscal year 2007.
Honorable Mayor and Commissioners, this item, we're requesting your approval to pursue a grant for a pet park. This will be located next to the animal shelter on 511 right.
I think it's a great idea. I so move to
To
approve.
approve. Second.
Motion approved by Commissioner Nettles, seconded by Commissioner Arroyo. All in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
All opposed? Motion carries. Somebody's going to be cleaning up after him, right, Josh? Okay. Item 8.
Item 8, consideration and action on resolution number 2006-063 to authorize the submittal of a funding application to the Brownsville Community Improvement Corporation for the Parks Maintenance Facility and Equipment Projects for fiscal
job,
year
Skips.
2007.
So moved to approve.
Second.
You want to say anything? Nope. You don't want to ruin it? All right. Motion approved by
Good job,
Commissioner Nettles,
Skip.
seconded by Commissioner Hernandez. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 9.
Item 9, consideration and action to adopt budget amendment resolution number 2006-064 to amend the general fund and the Brownsville Golf Center Fund by transferring $145,950 from the general fund to the Brownsville Golf Fund for the purchase of 45 carts.
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Commission, we recommend that this budget amendment be approved to purchase 45 golf carts.
So moved.
let me ask you something, Pete, real quick. Didn't we vote on something like this a while back?
We refurbished.
Purchased some, but now we're purchasing
But they were the
more.
refurbished ones, right? The ones we got? These
Oh,
are
okay.
be new?
Motion approved by Commissioner Nettles, seconded by Commissioner Hernandez. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 10.
Item 10, consideration and action to authorize a contract with Leibowitz and Horton Airport Management Consultants Incorporated to prepare the Passenger Facility Charge Program, application number 3.
Mayor, members of the commission, this program is worth about $400,000 a year to the airport. It is revenue that is used to help provide the match for our AIP, FAA-funded projects, so that the city will not have to incur a cost from its general fund to provide the match for that. We're asking for the city commission to authorize this firm to assist us in preparing this application. Be happy to address any questions.
This is an action item.
Approve.
Motion approved by Commissioner Longoria, seconded by Commissioner Camarillo. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item number 12, consideration and action to request authorization for a lease agreement for a portion of the Stegman Building.
Honorable Mayor and City Commissioners, through this lease agreement, we would lease the first space available, retail space available in our city Stegman building on the corner of 11th and Washington Street for the sum of $750 to the Shoe Palace.
What is it, how much?
$750.
It's not in the lease agreement. The amount is not in the lease agreement.
$750, is that a
That's the,
competitive or that?
How much space?
it's a little over 6,000 square feet. And it's
6,000
52 cents.
square feet at $750?
That's the going rate on the side streets in downtown Brownsville.
Which is what, a penny?
No, it's about 52 cents a foot.
But we don't qualify, right?
You want to rent it or what?
At 52 cents a foot, bitch?
It's not 52 cents. You said 6,000 square feet?
Approximately 6,000.
No, it's 6,000 square feet, that's 3,100. So, no, I don't think so.
Ben, are you sure it's 6,000 square feet?
That's what I was told, yes.
I think
That
you,
can
I
be
think you better look into this
Yeah.
again. I'm gonna motion to table.
Okay.
Motion
Second.
by Commissioner Nanda, seconded by Commissioner Nettles, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Item 13.
Item 13, consideration and action to award a contract to Ambiotech HNTB for the development of a master plan for the city of Brownsville.
Honorable Mayor and City Commissioners, to this item, a year and a half ago, the City of Brownsville went out for requests for proposals for a consultant for the development of a master plan. 5 firms responded. Interviews were held by a committee composed of prominent directors, community leaders, and civic board leaders as well. The firms were interviewed and the proposals were rated. The highest score received was the firm by HNTB Ambiotech. Tonight, they have submitted a contract for this plan, which will take approximately 24 months, 18 to 24 months to complete. This is an investment in our community for the betterment of Brownsville. The total price of this contract is $869 and $869,247.
800 and what, sorry?
$869,247. This master plan will be composed of 15 tasks that would encompass 24 months to complete. We would complete the portions as funding becomes available. Right now, we have approached the Greater Brownsville Incentives Corporation for $250,000, and we're working on that agreement with them.
It's been approved, right?
Yes, we're working on finalizing the agreement, and we would submit proposals to the 4B corporations, which we did today, and the rest would be a general fund and CDBG funding as well.
So moved.
Motion approved by Commissioner Nanda, seconded by Commissioner Camarillo. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Ben, see if they will, as part of this ongoing process that we just spent a few minutes on, if they would consider looking at some of the issues that we've raised with regards to the impact through the kayak. All right, item 14.
Item 14, consideration and action to award a contract for the purchase and delivery of 45 new electronic golf carts for the Brownsville Golf Center.
Mayor, members of the City Commission, this is the follow-up to Pete Gonzalez's agenda item for authorization to purchase an additional 45 golf carts on the existing PO number prior to its exhaustion. I await
So
your
moved, Ivan.
approval.
Motion approved by Commissioner Nanda, seconded by Commissioner Longoria. All in favor? All opposed, motion carries. Item 15.
Item 15, consideration and action to award a contract for the purchase of 1 utility tractor, 2 mowers, and 1 front loader for the Parks and Recreation Department.
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Commission, this is for Parks Department. We're buying through government contract through the buy board process. This will assist Parks to maintain its turf areas. They're looking to buy a diesel-powered utility tractor, a loader attachment for that tractor, and 2 Z-Track diesel-powered mowers for a total cost of $42,049.64.
Move.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Longoria, seconded by Commissioner Arroyo. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Ivan. All right, we have 6 public comments registered. First, Mr. Ruiz, Fernando Ruiz. Gone. All right. Monsignor Bert Diaz? Gone. Miss Leanne Greer?
Honorable Mayor, City Commissioners, I know I'm beating a dead horse, but it is my job as a member of the kayak. As I understood our duty, we were governed by Statute 395, which was enacted in 1987 to allow cities to have impact fees. So in 1990, when the previous board took a look at it, I can only imagine that 3 years from the inception, they said, hey, let's be a little careful here. Let's put a foot in the water and see how it works. And then 16 years later, here we are. Also, if I were builder today, I would not be pulling a permit till next year, because I would be waiting to see what is happening. According to a national survey, 60% of all cities over 25,000 residents and almost 40% of all metropolitan counties use some form of impact fees. In California and Florida, the percentages are 90 and 83%. Since 1987, 26 states have passed impact enabling fees. Now, the reason that we've had to go to impact fees is because previous years, the government funded a lot of our infrastructure things, a lot of sewer plants, a lot of roads, a lot of parks were funded by our government. A lot of those funds have dried up. So it is new territory that we're treading. We're looking for different places to find money to do those things that need to be done in our city. On average, the national average for water and wastewater fees was $4,000. Don't ring the bell. Do impact fees negatively affect move-up home buyers? No, because if they're selling a house to buy a new house, that fee is, they're going to get an inflated price on their sales price because they've already got that in place. When they buy the new house, they take a little of their profit and do the new impact fees. How do impact fees benefit existing as well as new residents? It takes off the pressure of the residents to provide these new services. Are impact fees a no-growth tool? Just the opposite is true. Impact fees facilitate growth by expediting development approvals, increasing the amount of developable lands, and reducing citizen opposition to new growth.
Your 3 minutes are up, Ms. Greer. Thank you for being with us. Father Larry Klein? Okay, gone. All right. Mr. Mata?
Mayor, City Commissioners, thank you for allowing us to speak. It's unfortunate, it's a sad day for Brownsville because I think we say we love the city, but we're doing things to hurt the city. You have created a window to allow developers come in with new plats and qualify under the old rate. And it's going to cost PUB more to provide the service than what we're taking in. So it is adversely affecting PUB, and you're not protecting PUB, and you're not protecting the city. Now, there's a lot of spin that's been going on and a lot of disinformation. I talked to Jaime Arriaga, who wrote the letter, and what he wrote there was a misrepresentation, and he didn't know some of the facts. Like, for instance, we said about the sprinkler system. You're not charged for an impact fee or a meter if you have a fire line. people are misled to believe that it's going to be very expensive when they're charged for one ESU for residential or one ESU per 5/8 inch line. And I went and talked to Mr. Alford, the president chamber, who also did not have a lot of facts and was misled by some people. I talked to George Masso, who has a 1.5 meter for his multi-million-dollar complex. He doesn't mind paying what's fair and equitable. And I went and got a list of everybody that has ESUs. Captain Bob is a 5/8 inch meter. That's equivalent to a residential unit. That's a $2,133 impact fee. Lynn's has a 2-inch. Their volume is a lot more. They can afford to pay more, but it's only 2-inch. You go to the high rise on Levy. That's an 8-story building. That's a 6-inch. You know, and there's only 12 customers that use a 12-inch or a 10-inch. So, I mean, it's very minute, but everybody's been given a lot of spin and a lot of misinformation that I think is put the fear in them to where it's going to hurt the city, it's going to hurt PUB, and like Mrs. Leanne Greer said, it's going to hurt everybody. And impact fees are to recoup the cost to meet growth needs. And what you've done, you killed it. Instead of, and you still have time to correct this, continue with the existing rate, get the chamber to work with the kayak committee, look at the facts. Look at the facts. Don't base on what somebody said or what somebody's perception is, but look at the facts. And then come back and make the recommendation. If it's too high, well, then go down. If it's too low, go up. But don't, I proposed zonal impact fees. It was rejected, but it's something that could be looked at. There's no need to go back and start over when we've been through the process and wasted a lot of time, spent a lot of money, and you invalidate it. So if you already know that 270 to 2,133 is too much, then you tell us what you want and save the kayak committee time and money. Thank you.
Monsignor, since you're back.
Thank you for the opportunity to let me speak. I'm here kind of disappointed. I don't know, one of you mentioned the fact that this is like what happened with the 5,000 signatures, and it is, as far as the issue of the impact fees. I'm here to speak on behalf of tens of thousands of families in our churches with Valley Interfaith. The same constituency that just collected 5,000 petitions, as you all very correctly said, these past 2 Sundays in opposition to the exclusionary Medicaid contract. On December the 19th, you voted to raise the impact fees from the current $280 per lot to the $2,133, and to look at the issue again in 1 year, which all the discussion was all about. Yet you began looking at it in 2 weeks, and now in less than 1 month, you are looking at rescinding, you have rescinded the decision, which I think somebody said you can still vote again right now and change it back again, I don't know. What has been clear is that you are listening to special interests instead of standing firm with the ratepayers that are struggling each and every day to pay their bills, and often to choose not to buy some needed medication in order to pay the bills. We are here today to witness how you each vote, and we're here to witness how you all stood firmly with your decision of less than a month ago and allow the special interests to push you around. Be assured, we will remember how each one of you voted, and and come the May elections, we will still remember. In the past 2 weeks, we have gathered those 5,000 signatures. And just like Jesus fed the 5,000 with 12 fish and a few loaves of bread, I promise you that on May, we will turn those 5,000 signatures into over 20,000 registered voters at the polls. And those who voted, those voters will go to the polls knowing that how each of you have voted. And this is not a threat, because we're not into threats. This is a commitment in our part.
Father Jerry?
No, a statement of fact is not necessarily a threat. I was the one that initiated the effort in McAllen to do single-member districts. We had 6 plus the mayor at large, because for a long period of time, people's concerns in the neighborhoods were not being heeded. Business interests, banking interests ran everything. Single-member districts was an effort to balance that out and put some attention to the neighborhoods. Shortly after McAllen's change, Brownsville came up with a hybrid situation, which you all are the beneficiaries of. Today, we witness that what's happening in Washington, what happens in the state in terms of money running politics and government prevailed again at our local level. I'm not making an accusation because I don't have the facts. I'm telling you what I believe, and I think I have the right of freedom of speech. I think people have sold out to the community. Single-member districts failed our people. On this vote here in Brownsville, Mr. Camarillo, just Friday, you told me that you were firm on the $2,133 commitment. I know that for sure. I know you now deny it. We accept the challenge, gentlemen. We accept the challenge. We accept the challenge.
I'm sorry, Mayor, I should.
Meeting's adjourned.
Beat 'em in wheat, baby.